Hello, in this video, I'm going to explain how to write a Python script to launch an EC2 instance and also to create an S3 bucket in AWS, right? So it's just one script, and that script is going to create those two resources. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm currently inside this folder. I'm going to create a new file. I'll call it EC2 s3.py, right? And then I will hit enter. So the first thing we are going to do is that we are going to import Boto3. And Boto3 is basically a tool that Python uses to interact with AWS resources. So import Boto3. And it's just good convention to put comments on our code, right? So Boto3, let me just put this comment. Okay, so we are done with that, right? The next thing we need to do is to create a client object that will interact with both S3 service and also EC2 instance. So um, so we need to create that object, right? We call it a client object that will interact with S3 service and also EC2 service. So I'm just going to copy the command and I'll just explain instead of typing them. So this is it. So this is it, right? So in boto3.client, right? So the basically is to interact specifically with S3, right? So let me just put the comment there. So this is it. So this is it, right? Create S3 client to interact with S3 service using Boto3 library in Python. So we have to do exactly the same thing for EC2, right? So basically just to copy this and change the S3 to EC2. So change this to EC2, and then this also to EC2. Then I'm just going to put the comment there. So let me just, I think it's kind of the same idea, right? So I can just leave the comment for this one. Now, the next thing we have to do is to actually create the EC2 instance, right? So I'm just going to copy this line of command and I will explain it. So we'll put command create EC2 instance. Paste. Okay. So what is this doing, right? So this run instance is a method, right? This run instance is a method that is used, right? That is used on this our EC2 client, right? That is used on our EC2 client to be able to create, launch, not just create, but launch an EC2. So all these are just the configuration. Imagine, remember, if you want to create an EC2 instance on your what's it called? On AWS console, you have to choose the instance type. You have to put the key name, right? So that you'll be able to connect to the instance via SSH remotely, right? So in this case, I need to maybe put my desired AMI, ID, right? I need to put it there. Then I need to also choose the instance type, maybe T2 micro or T2 small or something different, right? And this one, this mean count is just basically telling us the number of EC2 instances that we want to create. In this case, it's just only one, right? So that's just what this block of command is doing, is launching the EC2 instance. So the next thing we need to do now is I'm going to put print, right? So I need to print the, print that, print this, right? So I need to print this. So let me see, print, um, this. So print EC2 instance created, right? Then it's going to put, so this print command, when we run it on this, on our terminal on VS Code, we are going to see that EC2 instance created, and then it's going to give us, the details of the instance that was created. Okay, so the next thing we need to do now is to create our S3 bucket. So create S3 bucket, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bucket name. Just put, a bucket name. So let me just put bucket underscore name. So usually your bucket name have to be globally unique. So I'm just going to put buck SE dash 1234, right? So that's going to be the bucket name I want to put. So then I'll just put a comment by the side. Just the bucket name have to be globally unique. So let me just put a comment by the side. Okay, so now we need to create the S3 bucket itself. So I'm just going to copy this block of code and I will explain it. Let me give it space, paste. So what is this block of code doing? First, this create bucket is a method, right? Is a method on our S3 client, right, to create a bucket in our AWS account. So now, if you look at this bucket equals to this bucket name is basically is going to give this as the bucket name, right? And then this is if you look at this is a dictionary, right? Giving to give more specification on the how on the bucket that we are going to create. So here we are putting the location we want it to be in US West 2, right? So okay, so then lastly I'm going to print the bucket. I'm going to print, so this one is just to show us on our console on VS Code, right? So I'll just put print, paste. So print S3 bucket created, right? And then it's going to print this variable, here, response underscore S3. So one thing I need to do for this key name, I need to put so for this key name, I need to go ensure that I have an existing key, right? So I'm going to go to my AWS account, get a key that is existing. And if you don't have anyone, you can just quickly create a key, right? So for me, I'm just going to get is my AWS account. So I'll go to EC2 and we'll just come down. Let me say launch an instance. We'll just come down to keep here. So this is the keep here. So I'll check, select, I'll just check, select. So I'll just use this web key, right? So web key. And also, before we leave that, also, this is the AMI ID, right? So let me just copy this, come back to my VS Code. Let me move this. So I already put it there, but just to show you, this is the AMI ID. It's still there, still the same. Then for this one, it's just going to be web key. So, and that's just it. that's just it. So let's run this script now, right? EC2 dash S3 dot Python script. So let's run this script. I'm going to come to terminal, new terminal, and and one thing you need to note is that for me, I already configured my AWS CLI so that I will be able to interact with AWS, right? So if I type AWS configure, right? So it's going to ask for, access key ID. I already put my secret key ID. I already put my the default region and default output format. So already put all that. I already configured all that. So let me just clear. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to type Python and Python EC2 S3 py, right? And I will hit enter because that's the name of the script, right? EC2 S3 py, enter, and it's going to create it. So that's it, right? So let's come up. Let's come up and see. You see that says EC2 instance created, and then it gave all the, the AMI, the instance ID, the instance type, which is T2 micro, the key name. Then if you come down here, so if I come down here, you see also S3 bucket created, which was what we printed here, right? So S3 bucket created, right? And then, so now I'll go to my AWS account and actually see it. Let's see it now. This is my AWS account. I'll come to instance. And then this is the new one that was just created, right? If you look at the instance ID, it ends with A3. So if I come here to the instance ID, where is it? So this is it here. It ends with, this is it here, instance ID. It ends with A3. So that's the instance that was just created. So that's it. And it's running, right? So if I go back to S3, my S3, you will see that the S3 bucket was created. This is it right here. So it's created, right? So that's it. That was the bucket name that we put in our Python file. So that's just it. How to, quickly write a Python script to create, an S3 bucket and an EC2 instance. I hope that helps. Thank you.